part of your keyboard? The
Probably.
numbers. The numbers. All of those correspond to the mouse, and those numbers are where your move hotkeys are. So they're automatically on your mouse. So if you're worried, so on your left hand, instead of having to double manage, moves and your movement, and your mouse hand is sort of only having to deal with like targeting and camera control, which is really simple. You just feel like your left hand is over managing, and your right hand is under managing. This evens it out with in a very good way. So, am I thinking about buying that mouse? Definitely. I kind of find my mouse right now a little too wide. And if I take the case off, it's a little too narrow, and I don't know. I like the weighting, but that's not going to be enough. Mice, technically, these days, are very much the same. They have this more or less the same lasers in them, the same detectors, the same kind of customizability. But when it comes to the buttons and the layout and the feel, that's where you have to make that decision. So, trying out that mouse today, blown away. I might just buy it. So, yeah.
Are they selling that stuff there?
I don't think they're selling it there, but they're in a case, along with some other things. I saw the Republic and Empire shirts.
I wouldn't mind those.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking about getting one of those.
Tomorrow's my buy day stuff. I haven't bought anything.
I'm buying way too much.
Except for a PAX shirt. Yeah, you bought, like...
a lot of shirts. A lot of albums.
A stack of CDs and stuff.
Every musical artist at that show, I'm buying all their albums.
Did you get Jonathan Colton's?
Not yet. He's at the end of the line. So, him, MC Frontalot, and one other. I think I got... Who did I get in there? I got Mini Bosses. I got...
You got a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I got Video Games Orchestra.
Metroid Metal.
A bunch of them. So, it's cool. Ooh, I even got... Continue.
Yeah, no, so that's his experiences. I point to him because he's no longer there. I
got Nerdcore Hip Hop on vinyl.
Cool. Anyway, so
I don't have anything that plays vinyl.
What I did was I went to the MSI booth, MSI computer parts, stuff like that. They're doing like social media giveaways. So I was like, all right, whatever. They were giving away laptops and bags and other crap. So I'm like, sure, why not? Got a new mouse pad, which is nice because I don't have one.
It's true.
I'm not really a fan of mouse pads, but my desk is kind of shitty, so.
You mean crowded?
No, it's like it's ripping at the bottom of it, where my mouse is. And then I just kind of wandered around. I was gonna play Spec Ops, and this girl offered me to cut the line if I pre-ordered the game, and I was like,
that doesn't make any sense.
No. So I just left the line, and I was like, I'm gonna try Max Payne. Max Payne line was like around the corner, like I mentioned yesterday. I was gonna do Assassin's Creed, but they kept cutting the line because I want to watch that video again.
Yeah.
Because it's awesome.
Yeah.
And I spent a lot of time actually in the Xbox booth. I tried out. I played more Microsoft Flight because that game's a lot of fun. I played Trials Evolution. And if you've played the first Trials game, they've really made a lot of advancements with the new one. It looks a lot better. It's the same fundamental game, but it just looks a lot better. And it's a lot harder. I played this other game, and I can't remember what the title is, but it's like a zombie apocalypse. It's kind of like that game that Epic made. Kind of like the Metroid spin-off. Shadow something.
No.
This is going to bug me now.
Probably.
But yeah, you play as this, it's like a side-scrolling adventure game. 3D animation and all that kind of stuff. And you're this guy who's in. It's kind of like Left 4 Dead, except side scrolling, and you're 1 instead of 4. And you have to like figure out puzzles and stuff like that. And then what else did I do? I just really kind of wandered around. Like I said yesterday, I don't really go to these things as a fan. So it was just more like checking stuff out and kind of scoping out what I want to buy tomorrow. Because I want to get a couple of T-shirts and a couple of just kind of cool gadgety things. We handed out a bunch of. We have these wristbands that we made up. I don't think we showed you yesterday. But we had a bunch of wristbands made up. We've been handing them out to like just random people. Yeah, it's just like a little orange wristband thing.
They're very well made. They cost about a buck and change a piece.
Something like that.
Something like that. Good advertising.
Yeah, well, it's easy advertising.
People don't care about cards, right?
Yeah.
These days.
Well, they want things. This is things.
There's like free swag. Yeah, sure.
So, well, we were trying to figure out because Giancarlo was handing them out like here and there, just like while we were standing in line. I'm like, give me the bag. We're sitting in this room waiting for the Irrational panel to start, and I'm like, just give me it. Just give it to me now. And so I grabbed the bag and I just walked to the front of the line, and Giancarlo was like, what are you doing? And I'm like, shh. Free stuff. Free stuff. Everyone's like, yeah, free stuff. Give it to me. And they're like hands in the air. And I'm like, here you go. There was like these 2 kids sitting in the back of the room where I couldn't get to because there was just like too many people there. And I just start chucking things at people and like chucking across the room.
Yeah.
And people, and these like geeks love when people give you free stuff.
If they're in a group, they see one person want one, they'll put out their hand because they want one too.
Yeah, so and I used to do this type of promotional stuff when I was in high school. So it's just like so I'm immediately just kind of counting down the line to see how many things that I can do. It was like group 5. I'm like, all right, there you go. Just like toss in the middle and let them go to town.
We went through about this many?
Yeah, more or less.
Yeah. And we have 2 more bags like this.
And I did that in about a minute.
In a minute. We didn't even get to the whole room.
It was about half the room, if that.
Yeah.
I think there's about 400 people in that room, so maybe a third of the people. Or a quarter.
It wasn't like that. It wasn't that many.
If there were 400, the cap of the room is 400.
Yeah, okay.
And those bags are about 100. Anyway, doesn't matter. So I did that. What else did I do? I don't know. Like I said, I just kind of wandered around checking stuff out. I hunted down Major Nelson.
Oh,
I got to shake his hand, so that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
That's the level of my geekiness.
The Irrational panel didn't say anything new about.
No, they just kind of elaborated on stuff that they've already shown off.
Yeah.
My new favorite enemy is the Boys of Silence.
I like the Handyman.
And, because those guys are just freaky looking.
Yeah. The Handyman are going to have this pathos to them. They were saying it kind of harkens back to System Shock 2, where the enemies were apologizing for shooting you, and this guy is just apparently one thing that really sparked Ken's imagination is the sound effect that the sound artist came up with, and it's just the word "run." And I'm like, oh, it's gonna be good.
Yeah, Bioshock Infinite looks good. Comes out in October.
Yeah,
there's a lot of games coming out in October.
Yeah,
we are all going to be broke.
Yeah.
It's like last year, and the year before that, and the year before that, and the year before that.
Probably.
Actually, I did get to go to one other panel, which is the Major Nelson podcast, which was one of my influences for starting this entire thing. Which was kind of fun because they had Steptoe back, who no longer works at Microsoft, and they had Felicia Day talking about her new project, and
Geek and
Sundry. And it was actually really funny because they were making jokes. They're like, "Oh, you brought up you've brought this group up 50% redhead," and and then Larry Major Nelson was like, they do their like, what have you been playing, like for the last week or whatever.
That's like half their show.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
Well, because they go on so many tangents and stuff like that. But they were like, Felicia, why don't you go first? Because you're the guest. And she's like, why? And he's like, because ladies always go first. And she's like, that's chauvinist. And everyone's like, ooh. And she's like, no, I'm joking.
Yeah.
She wasn't joking.
Yeah, she was totally joking.
It was funny though.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it.
Do you get the feeling that people like taking digs at Larry?
Yeah.
Yeah.
E especially.
You ever wonder why?
No.
I think they're getting him back for things.
Oh, probably. Yeah. Well, I remember, like, because I've been listening to his show for maybe, I don't know, they're on, like, episode 400 and
something like that.
60 or something like that. And I've been listening to it since, like, 50. So I've been listening for a while. He had this other... He used to have... It was just him for the longest time.
That sounds boring.
It was boring. And then he would have, like, guests from time to time. So they had this one woman that worked on the Xbox team who no longer works there. And then E would show up from time to time, and then he became part of the thing, and it just kind of spiraled from there. But this one woman, Larry would always make fun of. Not, like, at her... Like, it wasn't really, like, making fun of at her expense. And if you know what I'm talking about, then you know what kind of jokes it was. It was just, like, not thinking about her, or, like... It was, like, her birthday, and he wouldn't say happy birthday, that type of thing. Even though they were, like, friends in the office. And like, E and Steptoe would always give him shit for it. Although Steptoe wasn't really part of the show for quite some time. But E and whoever else was, like, kind of guesting on the show. And, so yeah, I think that's probably where it stems from. He kind of is that guy who's just, like, because he's the boss, right? He's, like, the big boss of, like, the media side of Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
He's the head of programming. So it's probably something along those lines. But yeah, no. So
my last panel of the day was how to not suck at freelance journalism in the game industry.
It's a good thing you've decided to figure that out now.
How to not suck? How to not suck.
Starting to be like Larry now, and
how
then I
to
can
not
just deal with it
suck
later.
would start with me leaving this site and actually making a dime.
Yeah. Nobody would hire you.
You know, not even.
Nobody would hire him.
You know I've been hired, right?
I'd make sure of it.
Anyway, no, some very, very interesting things. I didn't go because I didn't understand, what freelance journalism was or how it worked in the game industry. That wasn't why I went. I went specifically to figure out how to better conduct our site on the business end of things. Should we ever want to take in freelance journalists, how to present ourselves to larger organizations along those lines. And yeah, basically how to write a proper cover letter. So it was very interesting. Some very interesting stories out of some very interesting panelists. At one point, they were talking about their most embarrassing story they ever wrote, and I think one person wrote top 10 games to loot following the Hurricane Katrina disaster.
Oh, that's incredible.
I need to find this article. I need to read this because that's just too funny. I need to. If I had internet access, I really would.
We're going to look after this.
Yeah.
Don't. I'm done. Stay geeky. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Take care.